All right. Welcome back, everybody. Shane Carter here, Hampshire Capital. As always, with my friend and co associate here, Eddie Austin, VP of Investor Relations. How's it going, Eddie?
Man, I'm doing really good today.
All
Real
right.
good. Sun's shining. It's a nice day.
Amazing. So today we're going to talk, a little bit about, our individual why, a little bit of company why, but family and sort of why are we doing what we're doing and why is that important? So Eddie, I want you to start. I want you to, tell everybody, what's your why and what does this mean to you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to add that today because I'm going to start at the ground level of this. And I've always been a busy entrepreneur and an entrepreneur at the same time. And I always tried to move the needle by doubling down. If you needed to work 40 hours a week, I was going to work 80 hours a week. But my early on thought process is if I work double the time, I can retire that much earlier.
Hmm.
And retirement wasn't just the only reason I wanted to retire. I wanted to spend it with the family. It was nothing for me through the years to knock down, $300,000-$400,000 a year, which to that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we never realized that money without the time well spent is nothing. Zero and zero, or if you have a $400,000 and the family time is zero, or if you do zero times that, it equals nothing. So you can have all the time in the world and have no money, and then you have problems that you have to focus on. So they go hand in hand. If this one is 2,000%, fully funded, and the money's at zero, then again, you have nothing. So to
Yeah.
balance that out is extremely difficult. And I think the why for me is when I had a family member come to me and I was making 300,000-400,000 a year. And I always had people, really heartstring pulling um, stories that they could use a little bit of money or something in the community was going wrong, and you wanted to help with that.
Yeah.
I had a family member come to me and they needed $2,000, and I didn't have it. And when I realized that I was working 80, 100 hours a week, taking from my family because I'm chasing this retirement dream, and I still didn't have $2,000, I'm like, man, what if I needed $2,000?
Mm.
And then it really started opening my mind up to really think about it. I'm like, oh wow, I'm not where I want to be. So then it was time to start reconstructing, Eddie Austin and the family life. Been lucky enough to be married for 10 years, and I look at the amount of time I've been married to my wife. I've worked 80 to 100 hours a week. And I can't say that at the time I moved the needle in a very positive direction. So it really come down to time, okay, well, now I really need to restructure everything because I need more options. And I think a lot of people, they look at money as the root of all evil. I would leave out, there's a huge caveat to that. Money gives options.
Yeah.
And those options being to take vacations longer, to help more people, to be able to give to charity. When someone really needs something that's meaningful, you have the funds to be able to do it. And I think until we talk about like the video that we made a little while back about time blocking, that goes along with that and that family block and having that because, that builds the credit in this section as much as it does this section.
Yeah.
So if we're whole in both hands because we've time blocked, having the ability to make money on a certain amount of time and at the same time to be able to make a block out for your family. And that's also huge. So
It sure
the
is.
why for me is to set extremely high goals, like $1.5 billion in assets under management in the next 2 years.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a crazy goal. But I understand when I reverse engineer that, it gives me options. It gives me my time back. At that time, maybe I can afford a private jet where I don't spend so much time driving down the road. I fly there.
Right.
Maybe I go look at 3 or 4 properties and I'm home by dinner.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to Houston, I went to Florida, I went to South Carolina, and I walked in the door at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and just in time for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why adopting like the things we talk about with time blocking and even going through your emails to just outline an hour and sit down and go through it and just get it done. And at the same time, you can make a lot of money and still spend time with your family. I wouldn't let go of that, because one of the most powerful things, you know, if we think about life and time, there's not much of it. You know, if we think about 80 years, I've been with my wife 10 years. So that 10 years of that is gone already. We've made money, made memories down the road, but, you know, so 10, 20, 30, 40, and those are the years we're alive. Now we're at 50 years old. You don't have that much time left. And if you spend it all burning the candle at both ends, you know, take that vacation now. Go out here and enjoy yourself. You know, I think it was a tribe somewhere was talking with Tony Robbins. He goes, you know, I don't understand Americans. I don't understand the busy professionals. He goes, you guys always talk about on social media how you want to go to the beach. You talk about how you want to do these things. Do it today.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead and schedule that vacation today, because tomorrow's not promised.
That's right.
So that's my why, is why I have these unrealistic goals, because I've reverse engineered what it would take to get me where I want to be. That way I can have all the time in the world. And if I want to block off a whole week and go help some cause overseas, I can damn well please.
Yeah.
And I have the money to do that.
That's right.
So for me, that's my why, is and why I strive so hard to get there. But putting in time blocking, I think, would get me there even quicker.
Yeah, and it's tough, right? I mean, you know, I'll share, you know, some of my story and experience in that same vein, Eddie, and you know, look, it's the sort of balance of working and being a, you know, sort of A-type entrepreneur person, and family life and family time, and balancing that. It's oftentimes a lot easier said than done. Right. Oh, yeah. And so, you know, look, you know, in my 30s and on into my 40s, now I am that guy who's 50. Right. So I do have that perspective. But as a younger man, you know, I did work too hard and I worked too much. And, you know, I have an older son from my first marriage. And, you know, he never felt like he was left out in the cold, and I was always there, you know, at every event. But was I really present all the time? I don't think so, right? And that's a regret that I have. Yeah, right. Like answering emails at 8 o'clock, and instead of being with my boy, you know, at certain critical times, just sends that message, and it's the wrong message. So really locking yourself down to just be diligent about absolutely being present, phone down, phone away. You know, from in my case, it's 5 p.m. Some people it's 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. For mine, it's 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And frankly, for the whole night, where the phone's down and I'm just 100% present now. You know, I've got 2 little kids, 4 and 2, and look, right now, as we record this, I'm in Florida, right? It's the end of January, and I'm in Florida. This has been something that my wife and I wanted to do for a long time, is, you know, to get out of the cold Northeast winter and come down and spend, you know, a month or 2 in Florida, especially while the kids are young. And so we're doing that right now, and I'm working right now, but you know, in another hour or so, I'm going to go into family time, and it's going to be 100% family time, and we are going to, you know, spend great time together, and fortunately be able to go outside and enjoy 70-degree weather like it is down here. But anyway, my point is that balance is really, really important, and it's something that I wish I had done a better job of sooner. But from where I sit now, it feels good to truly have that balance.
Well, I can say this, you know, sometimes it's really good to be the mirror. And what I mean by that is my youngest daughter played softball there for a while, and there was a kid on her team, cute little girl, really hard worker. She cried a lot on the field, and I really peered into that, and I wanted to understand why. You know, it's just because she was that big, she put that much pressure on herself. She wanted to play hard. And one day I finally caught it, and it was even more painful when I found out why. Well, her mom would come to the game, and while her mom was at the game, she would be on her phone constantly. Every time that little girl would catch the ball or make a hit, she would be running to first base, and she would look back to see if her mom was looking. And her mom was on her phone.
Mm.
And that pain for her was mom not paying attention to something she was proud of.
Yeah.
And, that hurt to watch. And I thought, that's what I mean by being the mirror,
Yeah.
is when I seen that, I was not going to be that.
Right.
I've seen that happening, and I'm like, I'm not going to be that person. My phone will be in my back pocket or in my vehicle, and I'm going to watch that game. I'm
Yeah.
going to watch everything that happens, because my daughter or either one of my daughters may look up and dad's paying attention. I would also make it a point when somebody wanted to talk to me. Yeah, I mean, I would talk to them, but I would not take my focus off the game field.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to, if my daughters looked back at me, I wanted them to see that I was paying attention. I would clap when they did something good.
It means so much. And look, they're only young for so long, and it's just
They really
critical formation time, right, for these beautiful little humans we get to raise.
Yes.
And yeah, you don't get those moments back, right? And so, I'm constantly reminded. I think if you pull, and I know there's tons of studies and things people can Google on this, but if you look at what's the number one regret of folks who are in hospice, folks who are passing away, I guarantee it's not looking at their phone more. I guarantee you nobody's
No.
dying and saying, "Gosh, I wish I got more emails done," or "Boy, I really wish I worked more." Right? There's not one person who's approaching death's door with that. However, the number one thing that folks regret is they wish that they did the things that they always said they were going to do, right? That they took more time to enjoy life, to be with family, to go on that trip, to take that vacation, to go to Paris, to do whatever it was that was on their list that they never just got to. That's the number one regret. And so, look, what are we all doing this for, right? It's life. And like you said earlier, man, nobody's guaranteed tomorrow.
No.
You got to enjoy every single day. And so having that balance is, I know it's something that we as a company try to, put into our culture and how we all engage with each other. And it's one of the things that is valuable to us. And that's why it's why do we do all this, right? Mine is the same as yours. My why is my family, my children, my legacy, and them knowing and feeling that they're important, they're valued, they're loved, and that dad was there for them and present when he was with them. And any wealth that I make is going into the family trust, and that family trust is set up to do good in the world, is to give back, right, and to help others. And my children will not have pro rata interest in that trust. They will only have access to that trust if whatever they're doing is aligned with the mission of the trust, which is to do good for society, to do good for this planet, good for the world.
Right.
And so if they're druggies, or if they're in jail, or they do something that's not right, they're not going to have any access to that money, right? Because the intent of that money is to do good for the planet, good for society. But beyond that, whatever they do, I'm leaving it broad so that they can take their pick of what is good for society, and that can continue to morph and change as society and the world and hopefully continued enlightenment occurs, that will continue to change for what that means to future generations.
Well, for me, I had one person so far that's came up to me and they said, "Don't you think that's kind of egotistic to want a jet? I mean, what do you want to be, Grant Cardone or something? What is that?" And I laughed. I said, "You know what it really?" And I mean, he almost had tears in his eyes when I was finished, but I wasn't trying to be a butt. I said, "You know what?" I said, "My why for that," I said, "I want to have an unrealistic amount of money, indestructible wealth.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot tear it up. It can never be destroyed. And I want the jet for one of the reasons for this." I said, if I ever hear about a family that has a family member that has 2 weeks left and their dream, their dying wish was to go to Alaska, get on my jet. Here's my credit card and go do it. Use my pilot and go do that. And I will self-fund it.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Wow." And I said, "That's my why."
Yeah.
I said, because I want to be able to do that and give it away. And it's not going to move a decimal point. It's not going to hurt anything. I could do that for several families.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that person crossed the death line, the finish line of ultimate life, that they fulfilled the one thing they wanted to do.
Wow, that's amazing. What a gift.
Yeah, that was that's my why, and I set my goals to be able to orient myself to be able to cross that, because it's important to me to be able to do something like that, because I have met people and managed people that their whole life they wanted to go hunting or they wanted to go saltwater fishing,
Yeah.
and they got to the age and they couldn't do it.
Hmm.
So if I could say, you know what, take off. Here's 2 weeks off. Here's $10,000, man. Go do it, because you can't do it when you're older. You know, my parents. They say all the time, you know, if we had all the planes and the money we used to have, we wouldn't feel like wanting to do it today.
Yeah.
We did. They did it when they were younger.
That's right.
When they felt like doing it.
When they felt like doing it. Yeah. That's right.
Instead of when you're hurt all over the place.
Yeah. That's right. Well, that's awesome, man. Look, this has been a great episode. I always love talking to you, but this was a good one. I appreciate it as always, and we'll talk to you again on the next one.
Yes, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.